right, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is are we ready? We're recording also.
We are, yeah.
Meeting of the Commission on the City Plan, Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. We do have a quorum and we have two alternates here who I would like to see, Jason Porter and Nicholas Sportson.
Great.
So with that said, we have minutes from the January 28th meeting.
There they are on the screen.
And has everybody had an opportunity to see the minutes?
Yes.
Would somebody want to make a motion to approve those minutes?
This is Ella. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ella to approve the January 28th minutes. Do we have a second?
Jason, I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the minutes are approved. I don't see any communications, Deanna.
No, but I'm trying to see. Looked like somebody came in, but I don't see them, so.
Orlando, who's Orlando?
Oh, he's already here. It's also the Nacito and Melinda together, so
Okay.
it's the phone call in, I think.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, so we
so
have
I have, yes, I have nothing.
no
new for me.
communications. No new business.
Not at this moment.
And we do have old business, a couple of public hearings. The first one that we should take up though is the B on the agenda because it's going to be tabled or postponed. That's at the request of the applicant, I understand.
Yep,
And that's SP number 24-13, 131 Providence Street. Somebody want to make a motion to table that?
I'll make a motion to table that until March, the next meeting, March 18th.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second by Nick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
so
Okay.
it was originally, I'm sorry, I didn't write down who would make the motion. It was
Me.
McBean, and who seconded Nick? Thank you.
Good. Okay, so that being said, we do have a public hearing that is going forward tonight. It's on subdivision number 43940 Connecticut Avenue. It's a request for a 2-lot re-subdivision on a parcel that includes an existing private educational institution building. It's the application of Greg Fetus Engineering LLC, property of Frama Realty Corp., Assessor's Map 50, Block 1, Lot 53, Zone BP. So is there somebody here from the applicant?
You need the motion to open the public hearing
Okay,
first.
I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion by Dean, second by Nick to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the public hearing is open. That being said, is there anybody here to speak on behalf of the application?
Frank, is that you?
Anybody
Are you
here
here?
to speak on behalf of the application?
You're muted, I think. Good. They're definitely out there.
I'm here. Sorry. Good evening.
Mr. Nosita, you're here to speak on behalf of the application?
Yes, I thought our engineer was supposed to be on, but I'm not sure.
I just let him in.
I see
okay.
now Mr. Fetus.
Yeah,
Greg.
they can speak on our behalf.
Okay. Mr. Fetus, are you going to speak on behalf of the application? Mr. Fetus, can you hear us?
Doesn't look like.
He's in.
Hello, Mr. Fetus? Yeah, but he's muted on his end, I think.
Hover over it, you can request them to unmute.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Usually they can hear us.
Mr. Nocito, do you want to try to call Mr. Fetus and let him know that we're having trouble connecting with him?
Yes, and my brother called him.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'm in.
There you are.
Okay, here we go.
Sorry
Uh,
about that.
So, Mr. Fetus, you're speaking on behalf of the application?
Yes,
Okay,
and
the floor is yours.
okay, let me see. My name's Greg Fettis with Fettis Engineering. Professional engineer licensed in the state of Connecticut, office in Mystic, Connecticut, representing the owners of the property and the 2-lot subdivision. I don't know if it's best that I share a screen.
Yes.
Yes,
In order-
please.
Okay, can you just give me like 1 minute?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys got started right. It's right on time.
We do.
We try to do that.
Should have given you the heads up.
Let's see. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Jim Porto just emailed me, he's not coming tonight, so.
Okay.
Okay, so we see your screen now.
Okay, so this is the second plan we submitted, which basically very similar to the first plan. This one is on Connecticut Avenue. It does actually encompass 100 foot 100 foot of the improvements surrounding the property as required by the regulations.
For us, because part of the plan is cut off, or move it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maximize your screen. Yeah, that's a little better.
I'm gonna bring up the other plan, which doesn't have all the contours on it, and we can come back to this one if we need to.
Okay, that'd be good. Yeah, that's a little clearer.
Let's see if I can get a little more of the. Tell you what, with my screen, I think that's the best I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna have to move up and down a little bit if someone has a question regarding any part of it.
Okay, thank you.
So, there's an existing, school on the overall property, and what we're looking to do is basically, split off the school so it's a conforming lot, and leave the balance for development. We didn't propose anything at this point. Because what I think we're gonna do is do a solar field. But we wanted to split it first and then come back for site plan approval. But we did make sure we had the 15-foot buffers for the existing property, for all the parking and drive access points. We show a couple of easements that go through the property. One's a power easement, one's a gas easement. Obviously, the solar down the road, when we come before you, we'll have more details regarding that. But I believe we met all the requirements for the subdivision regulations, as well as the zoning regulations for setbacks and so forth. There's a zoning table on the plan for the BP Business Park. Does show meeting all the requirements for proposed Lot A, which is the existing development, and then Zone B is kind of blank at this time, with the exception of frontage, width, and lot size. So I think it's pretty straightforward. If there's any specific questions, we did read through. We're asking for a waiver on the sidewalks, which was suggested by staff. And I believe the town engineer was in agreement with that. There are no sidewalks on Connecticut Avenue in this section. And I think we're okay with the rest of the conditions of the staff report. So I don't know if there's any questions or any specific things you want me to touch upon, I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, what's the size of the entire lot and the resulting size of the two new lots?
Yeah, so down in the bottom left corner is the zoning requirement table. The minimum lot size is 40,000. The existing lot is 438,636. Proposed lot A, which is the school, is 122,712, and the balance is 315,924.
So the remaining, just so quickly, is the lot was 10.07 acres and the new lot B is 7.25 acres.
Okay.
And lot A is 2.82, which is where the school that you just approved not too long ago is. Remember that was.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else have questions?
I have stuff to.
Okay. If there's no questions and the applicant doesn't have any other presentation at this time, I'm gonna let Deanna take over and go through her report.
Sure, so I'm gonna quickly, Dan, can you call up my memo?
Are you talking to me, Deanna? Sorry.
Yeah, Dan, can you?
I'm not sure I have your memo in
Oh,
my.
not Greg, Dan Deniska, there he is, there he is.
You want me to stop sharing?
Nope, we're seeing it now. So you can, it's fine that you're showing it, that's fine. All right, so this is my most recent memo, and it was on the website, so you might have hopefully read it. So I'm just gonna quickly go over some things. So they did originally not have the wetlands flag. They did recently with Rema Ecological, went out there and verified no wetlands or water courses. There's no open space provided on either of these lots. It's not really a need for open space right there or for anything like a conservation easement. So we have a minimum, it's our old regulations, $100 per lot. So we're asking for the $200. The only departments that reviewed it are engineering and NPU, and I'll go over theirs in a minute. Sidewalk waiver has been submitted. There's no sidewalks in the area, so it doesn't make sense to require them to put sidewalks in. Standard conditions about boundary markers. In the regulations for subdivision, it talks a little bit about designing for solar techniques. But there's no building shown on this. And the reason why that doesn't necessarily need to be here is it shows the clearing limits in that and the anti-tracking pad, but it's because it's probably going to be a solar and it's going to be by utilities, sewer and water there. If it was something else, and it would need to come back to you. So we decided that it was okay at this point to just, as long as we have the utility connections in the area. The plan needed to be updated with my soil and erosion control notations. And then I'd ask that the plan sheets, because there's two of them, there's one record subdivision map, and then there's the other subdivision map, and one depicts within 100 feet, the improvements with 100 feet of the property, and the other one doesn't. If we could just number them sheets 1 and sheet 2, and I think a new cover sheet is needed because you'll have to put a letter of approval on it in the title block. So I'm just kind of giving you the heads up on that, Greg. Okay, and then again, there's the language that's on that I have for the signature blocks that's required. There was hard copies submitted of the proof of mailing, and those were done within the time frame and correctly. The ES&S bond estimate has not been submitted yet to the city engineer, but E&S controls have to be shown. So one of the conditions of approval must include that bond for erosion and sediment control. Even though there's no activity proposed at this point, there's still an anti-tracking pad going in. And the concern is that the owner might want to do some site clearing or do tree cutting, and we definitely want to not be chasing it after the fact. If we hold the bond and it doesn't get done, we'll just do a swap out when development occurs. So let me see. So maybe Greg, can you touch on the applicants and engineers should discuss any potential impact on that existing gas line? And then there's that overhead utility pole line that they're pretty significant easements that cross over this proposed lot B. And it'd be helpful for the commission to hear if you have spoke with the utility companies with those easements yet about development on that lot.
So I have not spoken directly with the utility companies regarding the easements. Anything we would do would be outside of the easements. So we would not interfere with their easements. I don't know if the owner is here and has a little more information regarding that. He can speak to it. But I can say, you know, the easements as they're written, we can't be within the limits of them. So any development we would do with solar would be outside of the easement areas.
We have had conversations with the Norwich utility, and they actually will be assisting in the design as well.
Okay, because I think Algonquin is the gas line that goes through there. It's pretty significant gas line too. So I would just
Yeah,
say, yeah, that you know about that before you come in, you know, you definitely want to get that handled because that would be an issue with future development proposals. Blasting, I have a question because sometimes people want to prepare the site before they have development. I want to ask you if you had any current or future plans to blast on this property prior to development. Because the topography is very steep there and there's a lot of ledge.
Not at all. We're not touching the existing contour at all. The biggest reason why we're doing the subdivision as well is because if financing today is not available if it's more than the 6-7 acres. And that's the other reason why we're splitting the property up for the refinancing for the school.
Okay, so right now,
That's the major. The solar is eventually, yes, but we're not moving forward that at the moment.
okay, all right, so it's really a financing thing to
It's
be.
mostly for the financing because banks will not finance anything that's over the 6 or 7 acres, I believe. And this is, I guess it's 12, 13 acres and they absolutely reject it. So that's why we're doing this.
So I think I'm just gonna ask the commission, it's not in my conditions, because I wanted them to talk about it first, is I'd like to add a condition that no blasting happens on this property prior to development application coming in and being approved by the commission, because we don't have any blasting information. So I've just, I hope you're comfortable with that as the applicant and the owner.
I have no problem with that.
Okay. I don't know if Greg wants to, but it's not specifically required by our regulations, but it's very helpful for our assessor when we have a digital file of the record subdivision map so that we can update our GIS. So if we could get that from you.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So then after close the public hearing, we have to act on the sidewalk waiver. I do have conditions that are specified here under number 19 of my memo, number 2. And again, if we could add in the comment about not allowing blasting. So I don't have a exhibit list for you, but I'm going to quickly go through the exhibits if that's okay with you and just kind of put it on the record because it is a public hearing. And we definitely need to have that for any future reasons. So I'm just going to quickly, the subdivision application was submitted in digitally over the computer. So subdivision application, with the transmittal forms and associated transmittal forms, a list of the transmittal. We also have the legal description of the property, the abutters as of November 4th, 2024 that was submitted with the application on November 13th. Then we have a list of waivers that was dated November 4th, 2024. We have informed that the applicant and engineer that the subdivision regulations don't allow for any waivers except for the sidewalks. It's the only waiver. So none of these could be allowed. And that's why they had to revise the plan to address these comments, which they have. And let me see that was waiver request November 4th, which has been superseded. Quick claim deed that was submitted with the application on November 13th. There is a letter from REMA Soil and Wetland Studios dated January 18th, 2025 that I spoke about previously that indicates that there is no wetlands or water courses on the property. On Friday, January 17th, I got an email from Greg Fettis, consider this email as granting of the extension to open the public hearing on January 28th, 2025 for 40 Connecticut. But then that didn't happen. So then on 1/21/25 was my memo, memo number 1. And then I don't need to read that in because we have an updated memo. Then on January 24th, 2025, please consider this a granting of extension to open the public hearing to the February 25th, 2025 meeting. Okay. Let me see, because that was a mailing notification issue, and that's why I couldn't open last month. Legal notice had advertised on January 17th and January 24th for the public hearing on January 28th. The legal notice then happened again after the meeting on January 28th, where we postponed the public hearing to this meeting on February 25th. That was advertised on January 31st. Mr. Fettis updated his list of abutters for notification, and that was dated February 5th, 2025. Along with that, hold on, I'll keep going. Plan review was done by NPU. Rob Harris, I'm going to read his comments. There are no proposed utilities on this plan, so NPU has no comments regarding proposed utilities. There is a utility easement shown on the plan. This easement has active primary electric and must be maintained. There is an active electric service to the small building to the south, which must also be maintained. That is the only comments from NPU, and they will look at it further when an actual proposal comes in. The mailings were done on February 12th, 2025, and we have proof of those and submitted to us, the originals. Another just transmittal form that was dated February 14th, which gave me the revised record subdivision map for 2 pages, those and also the subdivision mailing. Then there was a chain of comments back and forth between the city engineer and Mr. Fettis through our OpenGov, which is how we make our reviews and comments. It started in January 15th. And I won't read all of these, but the final one was that Jeff Dewey, the city engineer, asked for the location selected for the construction entrance has poor sight lines to the south, as well as direct construction vehicles to a fairly steep slope once on the site. If the intent is to deliver a machine to grade and an access drive initially, I assume it would be to unload at the paved parking area, not on Connecticut Avenue, which sight line is less than desirable. Please confirm and indicate the intended drive access to be constructed with appropriate erosion control measures. And then agreed by engineer Greg Fettis. Mr. Dewey, we will, as a condition, relocate the anti-tracking pad off the existing curb cut and parking area. We'll provide additional silt fence down gradient of the new anti-tracking pad location. Prior to any construction, we'll be back before the commission and staff with the site plan application. Jeff Dewey's response that he had no further comments. And then on February 24th, yesterday, for the record, I'm in agreement with Deanna Rhodes with the regard to allowing the sidewalk requirement to be waived for this subdivision. And then my memo, which is up on the screen, which was dated February 20th. And then on February 24th, we received a waiver request, and I will read that because I don't think we have it on the screen. February 24th, 2025, to the Commission on the City Plan, Fettis Engineering LLC, City of Norwich subdivision regulations, request for waiver at 440 Connecticut Avenue, Norwich, Connecticut. Dear Mr. Manfredi, we request the following waiver of the City of Norwich subdivision regulations, section 19-27.2, parentheses 9, parentheses A, 1. On all existing streets on which a subdivision abuts, sidewalk shall be provided on both sides of such streets, or on the side of an existing street on which a subdivision abuts, in all zoning districts, and shall be designed in accordance with the recommended minor street cost section contained herein, provided that the Commission on the City Plan may waive the requirement for the installation of sidewalks in the following cases. Number 1, which is what they're saying, on existing streets on which a new subdivision abuts, such sidewalk shall be provided where the Commission on the City Plan decides that, based on a written report received from the Department of Public Works, the installation of sidewalks is not considered feasible at the time of the subdivision is proposed to be developed due to the existing road grades, location of existing abutting sidewalks, which is the reason, and topography or poor alignment of existing street lines. Due to the lack of existing abutting sidewalks, we respectfully request a waiver of the requirement of section 19-27.2 parentheses 9. If you have any questions or require additional information, please contact our office, 860-536-7390. Sincerely, Greg Bettis, PE. Then I have the original site plan that was submitted in with the application on November 13th. 2 sheets that are both been superseded. Another plan that came in at a later date, received it on February 7th. That has been superseded by the most recent plan set, which was reviewed by the city engineer dated February 14th, the 2 pages, and that is it.
Okay. Are there any other matters that the applicant wants to bring up at this time?
I think we're all set unless you have any questions.
Anybody have questions? With that being said, is there anybody in the public? I don't see any waiting to get into the meeting, but is there anybody in the public who wants to speak on behalf of the application? Anybody in the public who wants to speak on behalf of the application? Last time, is there anybody in the public wishing to speak on behalf of the application? Anybody who wishes to speak opposed to the application? Anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? Last time, is there anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? Hearing none, I think we can have a motion to close the public hearing. Motion by Nick to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Jason, I'll second.
Seconded by Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the public hearing is closed. And I guess our first order of business is regarding a waiver of the sidewalk requirements. Does anybody want to make a motion in connection with that issue?
I'll make a motion to waive the requirement for sidewalks because they're drawn abutting sidewalks. They're not necessary.
Okay, so we have a motion to waive the sidewalk requirement by Dean. Do we have a second?
This is Ella. I'll second.
Okay, Ella will take it. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the sidewalk requirement is therefore waived. And then we move on to the application itself. Does anybody wish to make a motion in connection with the application? Nick's going to make a motion to approve the application with the conditions as set forth in Deanna's memo.
Noting bond for the sediment and erosion control and no blasting before approval. Is there anything else that needs to be?
Memo 2 and memo 19.
Yeah, the 19 points of memo 2. Anything else that we're missing?
So that's the motion, Nick, with those conditions.
Yes.
And do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Dean. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. So the motion to approve is approved unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's the first time I've seen Greg Bettis. Hi, Greg.
Hey,
Thank
who's
you
that?
for your help tonight.
Thank you.
All right, and I don't see any extension requests.
No.
No bond reductions,
No.
no other business to just have a report they want to
I'll
make
just do
tonight.
a really quick one, that, when Dan gets back, we've been a little delayed on our, working on the zoning regulations because of his, surgery and just, other taking on the responsibilities in the office of 2 people. So we're a little behind. We still have a goal for ourselves to have it in front of the council this summer, which means getting with you, together with you ahead of time too, to talk about things, but we really need to get further along. We're only about 20% of the way, so it's a very aggressive goal. So we need to spend a lot of time on that. We just haven't. So when Dan gets back, that's really going to be, he's going to be the primary lead. so we can get that moving and meet with hopefully council members in teams of 2, non-political, just kind of mix it up and just to get them on board. And then we really need to go out. We're gonna use our Envision Norwich site and then have some public meetings, probably what, 1 or 2, Dan?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we'll have stakeholder meetings too, so
Yeah.
CCP will be involved and people that were involved with the POCD from different departments.
And I think that that's the focus is we're just trying to take the things out of the POCD and make regulations to make those things happen, you know, and then there's some definitely fine tuning of some problem areas and things like that.
Right.
So we're hoping to make development, and there's a lot of things happening legislatively, a bunch of different, you know, legislative bills are out there that I haven't really been following that closely, but there's a lot about accessory dwelling units. The city had taken an action of opting out of that, but it looks like there might be saying no one can opt out now and everybody that has single family can be able to do it by right, you know, locally, I think is what they're trying to push. There's a lot of things going on with that. At our next meeting, we're going to have, we invited the work, live, play people to talk about transit-oriented development. And that's another thing that the city is going to be at the council meeting next Monday, kind of opting in on a new program about that. So, but you can't really do anything with it until you have regulations, but they don't have model regulations yet. But they want communities to opt in, and this might be funding to help us create those regulations. So they're going to do that. We might as well, you know, kind of opt in and be at the beginning of it. Any specific questions about any projects?
Anything happening with the Fairhaven?
So there's an owner of the Fairhaven, and I think what's going to happen is there's CIF grant monies, which is community investment funds that we're eligible for, and that's how we got money for the Cape Heart, and we got money for downtown waterfront development. But they're really looking for housing proposals. So that might be one that we partner as a community with that potential developer to get that one done. But that's really NCDC leading that one. So, because they're the ones that brought in that investor. Let me see what else is going. Cape Heart, we're trying to finalizing all the documents with the state. We have $11.8 million for demolition and remediation there to clean up that site. So it's a pretty huge one that we're facilitating through our office in Public Works. And then there's what, 4 million, Dan, for the waterfront?
Yes.
4 million for the waterfront to do some work there. So we're looking at, we just selected the consultant that's going to be helping with the design of what's happening on the Howard T. Brown Park and upgrading some of that area where the mini golf used to be, because the part of the money that we got from the state was really for public use of that property too in the waterfront. So we're looking at different proposals. We're, you know, interested in seeing what they'll come up with. The marina money from that will pay for the marina's new fuel. So they'll have fuel at the marina, and then the demolition bids just went out. And responses are coming back really soon for the demolition of the Marina Towers building.
Oh, that was approved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the fuel tanks will be happening a lot sooner than the other improvements. They're on track to happen for summer, correct, Deanna?
Yeah, I think so. And then,
Yeah.
sure. And then, but the demo, I think, is going to happen pretty quick of Marina Towers too.
Yeah, no, and not that either, but meaning the other Brown Park.
All the other things are
Yeah.
more design phase, or like the demo, and also the things at Cape Heart. We're working with SHPO right now. We're going to have a meeting at the end of the week. They, you know, they like to have their hands in, and I respect that from historic preservation, but I think they think that maybe there's more of the Cape Heart that might be salvageable, but we don't necessarily see it that way. And I think it'd be hard to integrate that. We spent a lot of money with Uncas Leap trying to save that mill as that ruin, which is beautiful, but it was very costly to do that. So we'd rather have the availability in the open space at the Cape Heart to not have to do that. But so we'll be working on that. Dan, do you have anything you want to add in for staff report?
No, I don't think so at this time. No.
Yeah,
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the staff?
I guess I would say one more thing. On Monday night, there's going to be a, what do they call those things that happen before the council meeting? The six,
Information session.
what are they called?
It's information session.
Yeah, that's what I thought, what I'm thinking about. If they're having information session from the American Globe Theater people.
Oh, yeah. I read about
So, yeah, so they're gonna come talk about their vision to come into Norwich and what they wanna
that.
do.
Where are they looking at for that? The Cape Art?
No, downtown areas to do something. So you kind of have, I think you have to listen. Very visionary, very visionary.
What's the group?
The American Globe Theater, they're Shakespearean.
Okay.
It's all about the Shakespeare Company. They want to replicate, what is it, the 1615 or something, 60, what is it, Dan?
Yeah, the Shakespeare's
original-
Globe Theater.
The second Globe.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to
Yeah.
replicate that here.
Yeah, if they have the money, great.
That's the catch.
But I'm understanding that John says that they think in the legislate, that there might be money in a bill coming up, that, you know, from the state, that there'll be some money for them, so.
Well,
To
it'd
get
be
them here
wonderful.
to Connecticut, so if they're gonna do that, they're gonna give them some, that might be some seed money to get working on stuff, so. Anyways, it might be an interesting council meeting, you know, if you wanna go to the informational or watch it online and then go to the council meeting next week, so. That's about it. I think it's it. I'm tired. It's been exhausting.
We all are.
Dan, get back to work. Get back to the office.
I'm trying.
I know.
Stop slacking.
Slacker.
All right, that being said, somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
This is Ella. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Ella. We got a second? Second by Nick, all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Thanks,
We're-
guys.
End at 7:36 PM.
Bye.